Good evening. Yeah, there we go. Hello everybody, my name is Wingo, and tonight I'm going to be telling you about my journey. Over the past couple of months, I've had some amazing experiences with some incredible people, and I truly believe that they have all changed my perspective and outlook on life. Tonight I hope that I'm able to take you through the entire process, and that I hope that you all get something out of this. So to begin with, it all starts with Dr. Kaufman, who is in attendance tonight, and I interned with Dr. Kaufman during the first quarter of this school year, and I will go into more about that a little bit later. But there's me, and so me and Dr. Kaufman were chatting one day after I had attended one of his classes. We were just in his office shooting the breeze, and he really wanted to know what I thought about the class, and so we ended up getting into this discussion about public school versus college, because I think we all know that there is a big difference, right? I really had some shock when I first went into that college classroom for the first time, and I really wasn't expecting a lot of the things that I encountered there. And so he really started to pick my brain about these different questions and what I thought of the experience, and how I thought the secondary school experience compared to that college setting. And if I thought that in America we were properly preparing kids in the high school setting to move on and be able to handle college. So I basically made it my goal over the next couple of months to answer the questions, right? So before I really got into anything college related, I found that more than half of high school graduates are actually deficient in practical skills such as oral and written education and professionalism, as well as critical thinking, right? So that's everybody who comes out of high school in America, not just the kids that end up going to college. But now we've got to look at college, because that's obviously the focus here. And we've got 10 people who just happened to graduate high school, and these 10 people are going to Ozarks Technical Community College here in town. 7 of these 10 people have to take developmental or remedial classes once they get there, right? So these are classes full of curriculum that should have been learned at a proficient level in high school, but for whatever reason, were not. Now, 3 of these original 10 people at OTC either go on to graduate or transfer to a 4-year accredited university. So of course, I think we all can agree that OTC is a very small microcosm, an example of education in America. But we got another 10 people, right? And these 10 people are going to Missouri State, right here. And 3 out of these 10 people have to take those same developmental classes with that same curriculum here at Missouri State. And only half of these original 10 students end up graduating in an average of 6 years. And of course, that's compared to the typical 4-year span. Now, as big as Missouri State is, it is still a small example and microcosm in the grand scheme of American education. So I decided I've got to broaden my horizons a little bit more. So looking at Missouri, according to the International Center for Leadership in Education, only about 30% of students who start 4-year degree programs actually finish, and only 12% of those students who start 2-year degrees actually complete the program. And before I move on, I must note that there are a lot of other aspects that go into, and contributors that go into education, but because of time constraints, these are just the basics. And I think that from these basics, we all can conclude that something's not right. You know, we're not doing something right that's properly preparing kids for their future, whether they're going into the workforce, a technical school, or to a 4-year accredited university. And Mr. Coffey actually noted this earlier, and that was the 2013 statistic, but the 2014 statistic is 28%. And if you remember, from 2013, it was 33% of students who graduate, and now it has decreased in 1 year to 28%. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that's a very good success rate. And I think that we can do a lot better, right? And so somebody at Kickapoo thought the same thing. Before I got there, I believe it was Dave Schmitz, I see sitting back there, who really was looking at this stuff and said, look, something's not right. We're doing something wrong and something needs to change. We've got to turn the tables. right? So I'm going to try and take you through the process of how this program that we're all a part of really got started and ended up how it is today. So in spring of 2010, a leadership team is formed to really look at the research and see what other people are doing and see how we can basically solve the problem, find a solution to the problem at hand. So the next year, a Kickapoo University committee is formed, and they really begin to implement these ideas and structure a program so that kids would be engaged for 4 years and so that they would be successful in their future. In the fall of 2011, the co-directors of Kickapoo University are named, Lynn Coffey and Dina Butcher, and so the process begins. Now, I'm sure that we'll have some pamphlets floating around tonight that talk about all about Kickapoo University and have all of our goals and mission statements and things that our lovely directors have already noted. But I would just like to go over a few basics really quick. So some goals of Kickapoo University are to develop these practical skills, right? Critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. Now, in an interview with Laszlo Bach, who's the director of people operations at Google, he says that the #1 thing we look for is general cognitive ability. It's learning ability, it's the ability to process on the fly, it's not IQ. Now, granted, we must still consider intelligence, GPA, test scores, and IQ, but the director of a Fortune 500 company whose stock pays incredible dividends year after year says that that's not what we should be worried about, right? We should be worried about these practical skills here on the left, and that's what we're looking for in employees. Now, somebody already mentioned these different requirements that we have as well for Kickapoo University, which include job shadowing, community service, tutoring, and of course the internship and Capstone class. And in an article published this year by The Atlantic, the #1 thing that employers look for in graduates of college, people who they're looking to employ, is internships. You go down the list to #4, you see volunteer experience, 5 extracurricular activities, and 6 relevance of coursework, which are all either required or encouraged within the Kickapoo University program. So you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, this is great. This sounds fantastic. I've seen all these wonderful people already present, and I see their smiling faces sitting down here in the crowd. But does it work? And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know, right? Our program is in its infancy, and so we have no hard data. We have no statistics to say yes or no. I'm currently working with the sociology department here at Missouri State to try and set up a long-term study to track the success of our kids as they go out into the world and hopefully have success in the real world and in college and in their careers. But before I finish, I'm just going to tell you what it's done in my life, because I have a lot of faith in this program. I believe in this program, and it has been instrumental in my high school experience, and I really think that it has changed my path for the future. So I've worked with countless organizations because of the volunteer requirements. I've networked through those organizations. I believe that I've become a more well-rounded citizen because of the experiences I've had volunteering, and things that I never would have done had I not been a part of KKPU and had I not had those requirements set before me. Another thing that people have already touched on tonight is the dual credit. Once I go to college, I will technically be a sophomore and will have saved over $4,000 because I've gotten all of these credits out of the way, right? So there's also various requirements that we have to do as a part of KKPU, and these classes are basically provide us with practical skills that everybody should have, right? Public speaking, digital communications, rigorous coursework, and Spanish, global awareness, which all are becoming more and more relevant in today's society, day after day. Of course, we've also noted the relationship with Missouri State and the Career Center, which I have immensely benefited from. We've seen these professionals from these outstanding organizations and companies come and speak to us and explain what they are personally looking for in potential employees, as well as take that Myers-Briggs test. They really let me know more about my own personality and my potential for the future. Of course, we made the cover letters and the resumes. which also hopefully will better prepare me to go into the workforce. We've already noted this as well. Just some incredible experiences with the mock interviews, the Majors Fair, the service learning trips. I think that we all have benefited immensely from getting outside of the classroom and getting away from that traditional idea of education and having real-world experience. And the realest experience of them all has been my internship. Of course, I noted earlier that I worked with Dr. Kaufman, and he's an incredible man with an incredible passion for what he does. And if you don't know him already, you should try and meet him and talk to him, because he's inspiring and he's been a great mentor to me as I move through this stage of life. I was able to attend many of his classes and experience that realm of the profession of a professor as a post-secondary teacher, as well as interview him about the nitty-gritty of the job and the different aspects surrounding not only the teaching, but of the research and of the bureaucracy involvement that he has to be in because of his position as head of that department. Now, I'm about done, I promise. I think that this should matter to each and every one of you, all of us who sit here in this auditorium today. We live in a great country with great freedoms, and but that also holds great responsibility. And the fact of the matter is that we are all going to be adults one day. And kids back at Kickapoo who aren't here, who aren't part of Kickapoo U, and kids who are in the district are going to be adults one day and are going to